Hour 2 of the program, ladies and gentlemen. Tobin and Leroy back with you here on a hump day. Let's get to our headlines. Brought to you by Doral Volkswagen. At Doral Volkswagen, choose from over 300 new Volkswagen models in stock, like the Tiguan, the Taos, and the Atlas. And remember, Leroy, when it comes to Volkswagen, the great deals are at Doral Volkswagen.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The combine gets going tomorrow
with the big uns,
with defensive linemen and linebackers. And yesterday, Mike McDaniel spoke to the media. The news with that, Mike McDaniel said that they're basically going to move forward. They have now decided, Leroy, that the offensive line is no laughing matter, and they're not going to laugh at concerns. And they're going to invest free agency.
What gave that away?
And draft picks to the offensive line.
The fact that your quarterback, who you just gave hundreds of millions of dollars to, is getting killed.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Here's the deal. Like, I appreciate the fact that he acknowledged it, and in fact, acknowledged something that we already knew. This probably wouldn't have been as big of a deal. Like, we would have all kind of went into it like, okay, there's a couple of guys not working out. We got to improve that or whatever. And we would have that conversation with no big deal. Happens to every team. You think certain things are going to play out, right? And they don't. But Chris Greer got us in this mode when he said, I laugh at you, right? And the offensive line wasn't good. So that's why we are where we are now.
Yeah. So he said they're going to go through 2025 as if Teron Armstead is not playing. Teron Armstead has reduced his salary all the way to the minimum.
What?
I was like, you can do that?
What just
happened? Do that? I guess he can do that.
Well, here, you can do it when your ass is going to get cut and get nothing.
Yeah.
So, like, what's the difference?
Yeah, so it's like a $2 million parting gift.
In order, and let's think about it this way. In order to redo somebody's contract, technically you have to cut them and re-sign them. So, like, to just say Teron walked in and said, hey, you know what? I'm going to give $26 million back to you guys.
I'm like, what is this? What is this, Mario Brothers? Like, you just give up a couple of mushrooms and
no,
do that? I didn't.
No,
whatever. So he reduced it. It looks like Patrick Paul is going to be your left tackle, and
not necessarily.
So you think there's a chance he comes back?
I don't know. I mean, he can't. Listen, he can't do anything less on the football field. Right? He doesn't practice. He just plays in the games.
Right. Well, that's another thing too, right? Like, if you're him, you're like, he feels like do I feel like playing football on August 1st type of age.
Right. That's where I got to when it was almost time for camp to start. I was still limping. I'm like, do I want to do this? Really? Yeah, but here's the thing, though. You're going to have 3 new offensive linemen. And that's not conducive to success either, because we can't just assume that everybody that they plug in is going to be good. Like, we can't assume that Paul's going to be Teron Armstead.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Like, the big key to it is, did the guy they draft last year, is he any good? We have no idea.
No idea. And that's fine, because if you brought him in at left tackle, he could only play left tackle, right? And he didn't play. That's okay, because you knew that the guy he was playing behind was really good.
Mm-hmm.
However, the problem that I have with these things, and I'm going to say, it's the same problem that I have with Spo. When you start the process of getting reps later because you're trying to, work with the player, that in-game, knowledge only comes from playing games. I don't care whether it's basketball. I don't care whether it's baseball. I don't care whether it's football. So as good as you think Paul could be, he's still going to have to go through his bumps and bruises of playing on game day and playing every snap and having all the things that can happen to him. You can only experience that during the game.
You want to hear from Mike McDaniel?
We got some time.
Mike McDaniel was asked, why does he feel the need to go to the combine? Not every coach does. And it's because Mike McDaniel feels like he needs that face-to-face time. Here was Mike McDaniel.
I can't replace that face-to-face energy and human element that is so important. Like in this game, it's the one time that however it is for us a little inefficient in terms of time. There's some downtime in the middle of the day, but for me, I'm hard pressed with how important the decisions are for the fabric of your team when it comes to the NFL draft. Everybody can do it a different way. I need to see people in person for me to kind of complete the whole picture of what I'm seeing on film.
I like that the guy who wants to talk about inefficiencies of time, who has 45-minute press conferences every day.
Yeah.
Based on the amount of
word
words.
Efficient and how hard it is to call one of his plays.
I know one thing, though, when we get the weird questions, like when we start getting into these rookies leaking the weird questions asked, we're going to know which one is him, because there's going to be some like Toledo cornerback who's going to be like, hey, he asked me something about Socrates. And I was like, what? Yeah. What would Socrates say to that? Huh? The philosopher. I don't quite follow, coach.
Attaboy.
Like, he's got to be a doozy in these, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who are the guys that I spoke to. I spoke to Marty Schottenheimer. He was with the Chiefs.
What was the weirdest thing you got asked?
Nothing really. Nothing. Well, he asked me, which I always find a little weird, and I thought it was weird at the time. What can you do to help the Kansas City Chiefs win?
What?
Like so how do you answer that?
Sometimes the best things that you can say are to say nothing.
Imagine that. Like this guy.
Right. But like so that was the only question that really caught me off guard. I talked to the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a couple other teams.
Who was there at the time with the Giants? Was that Parcells?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Classic.
Because I think they won a Super Bowl my rookie year or my second year. I know. Think of this. Washington won the Super Bowl when I was in 91. In 90, I think it was the Giants. And that was also when Cincinnati was in the Super Bowl. Cincinnati won our division.
Cody says that Mike is only there for the 40 times. You just think he's going to look at somebody at a 4.2 and he's just going to drool and be like, that's my guy. He's new Al Davis.
Ain't nobody running the 4.2 this year. That you don't think you. Let me explain something to you. You throw that number out there, like it's just there's a lot of guys doing it. That don't happen every year.
Here's a little bit more. Speaking of fast guys, Mike McDaniel on his running backs coming back this year. No Mostert. He got kicked to the curb. But he says high expectations for Achane and Jaylen Wright.
Right now, I feel extremely strong about who's in the room, knowing that it will grow by 2 to 3 people. But I think part of our vision moving forward is we have high expectations for that tandem of Devon and Jaylen, and think that they give us an opportunity to really be effective handing the ball off and doing stuff in the pass game. So I'm excited to see how the room fills out, knowing that we only have 2 under contract, but I'm very excited about those 2 and motivated to make that more than 2.
That's not what I want to hear.
You motivated to make it more than 2.
No, here.
What did he say?
Hold on. I want to hear somebody acknowledge that this team needs to be more physical up front. Right? When you start talking about in the run game and the pass game, you're not devoting a whole bunch of time to being more physical. So, I need some rump shakers on both lines of scrimmage. And I wouldn't mind having a running back that weighed more than 215.
Take a break.
Because when you get to those crucial moments in a game, the last thing you want to do is have your offensive lineman pulling and tossing the ball to an ant.
Well, he's gonna be RB1 this year. Achane.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But you're still gonna need
moose.
when you're first and 10 on the 4, and you acknowledge the fact that you need to be physical and pound the ball, you need somebody who can push the pile a little bit.
Which means this is Damian Martinez.
Ooh, yes.
Something along, something like that. Yeah.
Smash mouth.
But that commitment also has to start up front, right?
Yeah.
Because the thing about this offensive line, they do a lot of pulling and running and all that. You need some guys who are going to hit folks in the face.
Take a break. More to come here on the show. Back after this.